Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into the gritty world of 1972's The Getaway, a neo-noir crime thriller directed by Sam Peckinpah and powered by the iconic duo of Steve McQueen and Ollie MacGraw.
Yeah, and we've got a fantastic review as our guide today. It really dissects the film, from its twisting plot and fascinating characters right down to its raw visual style and the punch of its sound design.
Exactly. Our goal here is to kind of cut through the noise of this review and deliver the core insights directly to you. We want you to understand why The Getaway is still considered such a heavyweight in the crime thriller genre and what makes it so distinctive. Okay, so the review kicks things off with the basic setup, and it sounds like a pressure cooker from the word go.
It really does. You're immediately thrown into this morally ambiguous situation. McQueen's Doc McCoy, a seasoned bank robber stuck in prison, gets a shot at freedom, but it's all thanks to the shady deal his wife Carol strikes with a corrupt businessman, Jack Beenan. Right away, you see the moral decay, His parole isn't earned, it's bought with a dirty deal. Immediately paints this world as corrupt for you.
And the price of that freedom. Doc has to pull off a high-stakes bank heist with Beenan's hand-picked crew. You just know, watching this unfold, that betrayal is practically baked in.
Absolutely. And as the review points out pretty astutely, the moment everything pivots, and violently so, comes quickly. The heist unravels, and Doc and Carol find themselves double-crossed. Suddenly, their focus shifts from just getting away with the money to simply, getting away alive.
Which ignites the film's central drive, their desperate flight.
Yeah.
The review paints a vivid picture for you, doesn't it? Them constantly looking over their shoulders, facing threats on all sides, not just from the people who set them up, but also from relentless hitmen, like this guy Rudy.
Yeah, Al Lettieri.
Right, and the ever-present long arm of the law, of course.
Yeah. And what's fascinating and what the review really emphasizes is that the tension isn't just about who's chasing them. It's about the crumbling trust, as the review puts it, between Doc and Carol as they try to navigate this treacherous landscape together. That internal conflict adds a really compelling psychological dimension for you, I think, beyond just the straight action. The core takeaway from the synopsis, according to the review, is exactly that. A stylish, tense, neo-noir thriller with all the action you'd expect, but with this crucial undercurrent of a relationship being tested to its absolute breaking point.
Absolutely. Okay, digging deeper into the plot, the review really highlights how tightly and efficiently the story is told.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's not a lot of fat on the bone here. It gets straight to the grit.
That efficiency really cranks up the tension, doesn't it? And the review, it correctly notes those shady means of Doc's parole. I mean, think about it. That immediately establishes a world where nothing is clean, where everyone has an angle.
And that bank heist itself. The review calls it a masterclass in tension, a real pressure cooker of precise planning colliding with chaotic execution. It sounds like a sequence that would, really grab your attention.
It's that contrast that makes it so gripping, I imagine. You see the meticulous preparation, but then the unpredictable human element just explodes and everything goes sideways. It's also, as the review kind of hints, where that initial seed of betrayal is sown.
Then, just as you said, the second half becomes this relentless chase. The review uses such strong language, danger lurking around every corner.
Yeah.
You can practically feel that constant threat just reading about it.
And again, it's smart how the review keeps bringing us back to that internal struggle, noting that it's not just about outrunning the bad guys, but about the crumbling trust between Doc and Carol. That's the element that elevates it beyond just a series of action scenes for you. It's about how these life or death situations impact their fundamental connection,
Let's turn our attention to the characters then, because the review gives us some really insightful glimpses here. Starting with Steve McQueen as Doc McCoy, the ultimate antihero, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. The review nails it, describing him as cool, calculated, and ruthless. That quiet intensity McQueen was so famous for must have been magnetic on screen.
Definitely.
And the review points out this fascinating balance, a quiet, stoic nature suddenly erupting into moments of explosive violence. That's the core of his appeal in these kinds of roles for you, the viewer, right? That unpredictability.
And the reviewer felt he was both charismatic and intimidating, which is such a tricky but compelling combination to pull off. Now, Carol, played by Ollie MacGraw, the review notes she begins as this devoted but naive wife.
Which is, a common starting point in these narratives, isn't it? But the review also emphasizes how she changes. She evolves to become far tougher and more resourceful as their situation deteriorates. It suggests she's not just a passive participant, but someone who really adapts to survive alongside Doc.
Interesting. Then we have Ben Johnson as Jack Beenan, who the review aptly labels a perfectly slimy villain. You just get that sense that he's bad news from the moment he appears, don't you?
Casting is so key there, and Ben Johnson had this inherent authority that, when twisted, made him so believable as a corrupt figure pulling the strings. He's the one who sets the whole dangerous game in motion for Doc and Carol, as the review makes clear.
And let's not forget Rudy, Al Lettieri's character, a sadistic hitman with a truly menacing presence. The review mentions that scenes with him feel unpredictable, which would definitely keep you on the edge of your seat.
Lettieri was brilliant at playing those unsettling, volatile types. That unpredictability the review highlights would have injected a real sense of palpable danger into every scene he was in, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it definitely adds tension. Finally, the review gets to the heart of Doc and Carol's relationship, stating it's tested by betrayal, violence, and life-or-death decisions, but ultimately bound by love and mutual survival instinct. That push and pull must be the emotional core of the film for you.
It is. It raises that central question. Can their bond withstand this immense pressure? Are they truly partners, or will the circumstances just shatter what they have? The review suggests it's the former, at least on that fundamental level of needing each other to get out alive.
Right, that survival instinct again. Okay, shifting gears to the visual and auditory landscape, the review paints a really vivid picture. For the cinematography, it's described as gritty, raw, and unpolished, which perfectly complements that brutal, unforgiving world they inhabit.
That raw aesthetic is so crucial to the feel of Neo-Noir, isn't it? It strips away any sense of glamour and just exposes the harsh underbelly. And the contrast, the review points out, those sun-drenched Texas landscapes juxtaposed with the dark themes of greed and betrayal, that creates a really unsettling visual tension for you.
And the review notes the use of handheld shots and tight close-ups to really heighten the claustrophobia and urgency during those chase sequences. That would really put you right there in the thick of it.
Absolutely. Those techniques create a visceral, almost uncomfortable feeling, mirroring the character's anxiety and desperation that the review so effectively conveys. You feel trapped with them.
Now, the sound design and music. Quincy Jones doing the score. The review says his jazz-infused score adds this cool sophistication alongside moments of tense urgency. That's a fascinating blend.
Jones was such a versatile composer, and that combination sounds perfect for this kind of thriller, that smooth, almost seductive surface with this undercurrent of danger just waiting to explode for you. And the review emphasizes the effective use of silence, letting those stark, realistic sounds, gunfire, screeching tires, heavy breathing, dominate the key moments. Sometimes what you don't hear can be even more powerful, right?
Absolutely. Letting those raw, authentic sounds tell the story in those intense moments can be incredibly impactful for you as a viewer. Then there's the pacing and action. The review highlights that it's fast-paced but never rushed, which is a delicate balance to strike.
It really is. You need to maintain that momentum, that sense of constant threat, without sacrificing the development of the characters or the clarity of the plot. The review suggests The Getaway manages this with breathing room between the action sequences, allowing you to catch your breath before the next onslaught.
And those action sequences, the bank heist, the car chases, the shootouts, are described as impeccably edited, maintaining this high tension and a real sense of realism. That commitment to realism seems to be a consistent thread throughout the review's analysis.
Absolutely. The review underscores that the action feels practical and visceral, relying on stunt work and practical effects rather than, flashy CGI. In that era, that grounded approach would have lent a real weight and authenticity to the violence for you.
And the fact that the brutality of the violence feels real and shocking really raises the stakes, as the review points out. It makes the consequences of their actions feel tangible and impactful for you.
It moves beyond just stylized action and tries to depict the true cost of these violent encounters. And the review's mention of the grimy motels, back alleys, and desolate highways further reinforces this commitment to an authentic, lived-in feel. This isn't a glamorous portrayal of crime, it's down and dirty.
No, it sounds like quite the opposite. Now let's delve into Peckinpah's direction. The review hails him as a master of violent, morally complex storytelling, which is certainly his established reputation.
He definitely had a distinctive style, didn't he? And the review emphasizes how he took what could have been a standard crime thriller premise and elevated it with psychological depth, sharp character dynamics, and relentless pacing. It's that layering of elements that likely makes his film so enduring for you.
And then we get to the core themes that the review identifies. First up is loyalty versus betrayal, where the key takeaway is that no one can be trusted, not even each other at times. That seems to be the engine driving so much of the conflicts for you.
It's the classic noir theme, isn't it? That pervasive corruption and the near impossibility of finding genuine connection or trust within a criminal underworld. That constant threat of betrayal keeps both the characters and you, the viewer, constantly on edge.
The second key theme is love under pressure, highlighting how their relationship is constantly tested by violence, mistrust, and life-or-death decisions. We touched on this earlier, but it's clearly a central thematic pillar for you to consider.
Exactly. It's about those extreme circumstances acting as a crucible, either strengthening or shattering the bonds between people. The review suggests it's a bit of both for Doc and Carol, a constant struggle that you witness.
Then there's survival of the fittest, which paints this Darwinian world where the review notes that only the most ruthless and resourceful characters make it out alive. That aligns perfectly with the gritty realism we've been discussing.
It's a bleak but often explored perspective in Neo-Noir, for sure. The traditional rules of society just break down, and it becomes a raw battle for self-preservation that you observe.
Finally, the theme of the American dream as an illusion is raised, suggesting that even when you make it get rich and escape, there's always a cost. That adds a layer of social commentary for you beyond just a straightforward crime narrative.
It forces you to question what truly constitutes success and whether ill-gotten gains can ever lead to a genuine happy ending. The review seems to imply a rather cynical viewpoint on this, doesn't it?
It does. Now, to ensure we have a balanced perspective, the review does offer some criticisms alongside its considerable praise. One key point is that Carol's characterization feels underdeveloped, portraying her as primarily reacting to Doc rather than having her own independent agency.
That's a valid critique, and it's something you might pick up on watching it today. While the review acknowledges her growing resourcefulness, it suggests she might still fall into that somewhat dated trope of a female character largely defined by her relationship to the male lead.
Another criticism is that some scenes feel dated, with the review specifically mentioning moments of dialogue and gender dynamics that reflect the sensibilities of the era. Or that's something modern viewers might notice as they watch.
It's almost inevitable with films from the past, isn't it? They reflect the social norms of their time. It's important to consider that historical context while also acknowledging that some aspects might feel, well, jarring to contemporary audiences like yourself.
And the final criticism mentioned is that the ending feels too clean. After all the brutality and betrayal, with that relatively neat resolution feeling slightly unrealistic to the reviewer.
Yeah. That's an interesting point to consider as you watch. Sometimes a too tidy ending can feel at odds with the gritty, morally ambiguous world the film has established up to that point.
Right.
It makes you wonder if the filmmakers felt a need to offer some sense of closure, maybe, even if it felt somewhat unearned after everything the characters had been through.
But the review also has plenty of highlights to emphasize. First and foremost is Steve McQueen's effortless charisma and his cool, methodical performance, which, according to the review, makes Doc such a compelling anti-hero for you. That's a pretty strong endorsement.
McQueen had that undeniable screen presence, no doubt. He could convey so much with so little dialogue, and that inherent coolness was a huge part of his appeal in these kinds of roles for audiences then and now.
The review also shines a spotlight again on the bank heist sequence, praising its precision, tension, and chaos. It really sounds like a masterfully executed scene that would be a highlight for any viewer.
It's often the centerpiece of heist films, isn't it? And the consistent praise from the review suggests it's a truly standout sequence that delivers on all the key elements you'd want.
Then there's the motel showdown, which the review describes as a brutal scene that perfectly embodies trust and betrayal. That sounds like a pivotal moment in Doc and Carol's tumultuous relationship for you to witness.
A confined space, incredibly high stakes, and the looming threat of betrayal that's a classic recipe for intense drama, right? It likely forces them to confront their deepest fears and loyalties in a very raw and impactful way.
The pacing of the film also receives high marks, with the review stating that it never lets up, keeping the viewer engaged from start to finish. That's crucial for a thriller to maintain its grip on you.
Consistent pacing is absolutely essential for building and maintaining suspense and preventing the audience from, losing interest. The review clearly indicates that The Getaway excels in keeping that momentum going effectively for you.
And finally, the realism of the violence is highlighted once more, with every blow, gunshot, and act of betrayal feeling painfully real. It sounds like a film that doesn't shy away from showing the brutal consequences of its characters' choices for you.
That commitment to depicting the impact of violence contributes significantly to the overall gritty and unforgiving tone of the film, making it a more visceral experience for you, I'd say.
So pulling all of this together, the review's overall conclusion is that The Getaway stands as one of the best action thrillers of the 1970s, effectively blending gritty realism, compelling characters, and intense action.
It's a strong recommendation, positioning it as a truly significant entry in the genre. The review rightly emphasizes McQueen and MacGraw's performances and Peckinpah's signature raw storytelling as key reasons for its enduring appeal for you.
And even with the acknowledgement of some dated aspects, its brutal honesty, tight pacing, and high-stakes tension firmly establish it as a must-watch for fans of neo-noir, heist films, and classic action cinema.
A solid 8.5 out of 10 from the reviewer speaks volumes about its lasting impact for viewers like you.
That rating really does underscore the film's overall quality and its continued relevance within the crime thriller landscape, despite, some minor imperfections noted by the reviewer. So to summarize our deep dive into this review for you, The Getaway appears to be a potent cocktail of thrilling action, fueled by complex characters navigating a treacherous world of betrayal. Its raw visual style is a defining characteristic of neo-noir, and the review makes it clear that McQueen's iconic performance and Peckinpah's masterful direction are key reasons for its enduring status, even with a few minor caveats regarding character development and that somewhat tidy ending.
It's a film that, based on this review, clearly leaves a lasting impression with its relentless intensity and its unflinching depiction of its characters' desperate circumstances for anyone who watches it.
Now for a final thought to leave you with. Considering the film's unflinching exploration of loyalty and the deeply corrosive effects of betrayal, how do you think extreme circumstances truly reveal the fundamental truths about any relationship? And even if a seemingly clean escape is achieved in the heat of the moment, can the messy realities of the past ever truly be erased, or do they always linger just beneath the surface, waiting to resurface? It's something to consider long after the final credits roll. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.